Hey everyone, just wearing my new hat. Happy anniversary to America. 250 years. Well done. The great experiment has lasted longer than people thought. We'll see where it goes from here. Anyway, just thought I'd wear my hat. I love hats. I collect hats. And you probably see me wearing different hats on my videos. When I'm out walking and stuff, I usually wear the same ones because those are my walking hats. Once they're worn out and old, I'll throw them out and I'll wear another one. But these are my good ones. I wear them from time to time when I'm out and about. Anyway, I wanted to talk about, go back into Isaiah. Some great stuff in chapter 7 and 8. It kind of skips a generation here. So in chapter 6, it's saying, in the year that King Uzziah died, he saw the Lord sitting upon his throne, right? So in the year that the king died, that's when he had that vision. In chapter 7, it says, and it came to pass in the days of Ahaz, the son of Jotham, the son of Uzziah. Okay, so you kind of skipped a generation there. I don't know why that happened or what's going on, but this is just the way they've put it together. It says he was the king of Judah. So Ahaz was the king of Judah. That Rezin the king of Syria and Pekah the son of Remaliah king of Israel went up toward Jerusalem to war against it, but could not prevail against it. And it was told the house of David, saying, Syria is confederate with Ephraim. And his heart was moved, and the heart of his people, as the trees of the wood are moved with the wind. This is what I want to talk about here is, so basically all northern Israel was called by the name of Ephraim, which was the leading northern tribe, right? So the northern tribes were pitted against the tribe of Judah and Benjamin. And they were confederate with Syria. And then said the Lord unto Isaiah, Go forth now to meet Ahaz, thou and Shear-Bashab thy son, at the end of the conduit of the upper pool, in the highway of the fuller's field. Very specific instructions here. Take your son and go and meet Ahaz at a certain place, and say unto him, Take heed and be quiet, fear not, neither be faint-hearted for the two tails of these smoking firebrands, for the fierce anger of Rezin with Syria and of the son of Remaliah, because Syria, Ephraim, and the son of Remaliah have taken evil counsel against thee. So he's warning, Isaiah, go and warn Ahaz that Ephraim and Syria are taking counsel against you. And let us go up against Judah. This is what they're saying. Let us go up against Judah and vex it, and let us make a breach therein for us, and set a king in the midst of it, even the son of Tabiel. And thus saith the Lord God, it shall not stand, neither shall it come to pass. Okay, so Isaiah, take your son, go down and see Ahaz, tell him that the Ephraim and Syria have become confederate. They want to topple you, they want to install their own king, but it's not going to stand, it's not going to happen. Okay? For the head of Syria is Damascus, and the head of Damascus is Rezin. And within 65 years shall Ephraim be broken, that it be not a people. And the head of Ephraim is Samaria, and the head of Samaria is Remaliah's son. If ye will not believe, surely ye shall not be established. Great scripture there. If you lack faith, you will not be saved, basically. If you will not believe, surely ye shall not be established. So he's given Ahaz some really important stuff here, some information about what's going to happen in the near future. So the sun's all over me, and this is interesting what he says next. Verse 10. Moreover the Lord spake again unto Ahaz, saying, Ask thee a sign of the Lord thy God. Ask it either in the depth or in the height above. But Ahaz said, I will not ask, neither will I tempt the Lord. So Ahaz, he had a bit of respect for God. Right? He wasn't going to tempt him. He had respect for Isaiah, obviously, and he probably believed what he was teaching him. Because, one, God doesn't give us signs and teach us things unless we believe. Okay, this is the Lord offering a sign to Ahaz. Ahaz is not asking for one. He's not a sign seeker. The Lord is giving him a sign. Right? Verse 13, and he said, Hear ye now, O house of David, it is a small thing for you to weary men, but will ye weary my God also? Therefore the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive, and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. Butter and honey shall he eat, that he may know to refuse the evil and choose the good. For before the child shall know to refuse the evil and choose the good, the land that thou abhorrest shall be forsaken of both her kings. So that land is obviously Syria and, and talking about Ephraim and Syria there before. Anyway, so he gave him a sign. What was the sign? The sign was that Jesus Christ would be born, right, through Virgin Mother, and he will eat butter and honey, and he'll know to refuse the good refuse the evil and choose the good. Interesting stuff here. I find it interesting that he's offering a sign to Ahaz before this takes place. This land's gonna be forsaken of both her kings. So they will be kingless. And so when Jesus comes, it'll be like the king has arrived, right? That's what they believed. The king was going to come and save them. Anyway, verse 17, the Lord shall bring upon thee and upon thy people and upon thy father's house days that have not come from the day that Ephraim departed from Judah, even the king of Assyria. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall hiss for the fly that is in the uttermost part of the rivers of Egypt, and for the bee that is in the land of Assyria. What's he talking about here? He will whistle or signal a summon, yeah? And they shall come, and shall rest all of them in the desolate valleys, and in the holes of the rocks, and upon all thorns, and upon all bushes. Verse 20, and the same day shall the Lord shave with a razor that is hired, namely, by them beyond the river, by the king of Assyria, the head and the hair of the feet, and it shall also consume the beard. What he's saying here is the land will be depopulated by a foreign invader. Okay, so they're going to come in and wipe them out. It shall come to pass in that day that a man shall nourish a young cow and 2 sheep, which means, i.e., only a few self-sustaining survivors shall remain. And it shall come to pass that the abundance of milk that they shall give, he shall eat butter, for butter and honey shall everyone eat that is left in the land. And it shall come to pass in that day that every place shall be where there were 1,000 vines and 1,000 silverlings, it shall even be for briars and thorns. Okay, or pieces of silver. So basically, in verse 22, he's talking about abundance of milk. They shall give it. So for butter and honey. So basically saying curd and honey, so which was a typical nomad staple. So these people are kind of self-sustaining nomads that dwell in the land after it's been made desolate by this foreign invader. Sounds a bit like what happened with the Romans. And with arrows and with bows shall men come thither, because all the land shall become briars and thorns, and on all hills that shall be digged with the mattock there shall not come thither the fear of briars and thorns, but it shall be for the sending forth of oxen and for treading of lesser cattle, i.e. sheep and goats. Yeah, so that's chapter 7. You know, as I'm reading through Isaiah, every chapter has something prophetic in it. quite fascinating. And I've heard a lot of these scriptures at growing up, like, behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son and shall call his name Emmanuel. These kind of scriptures have been quoted. I remember them being quoted pretty much my whole life. If we go back to the previous one, holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. Whom shall I send, and who will go for us? Then said I, here am I, send me. All these kind of, woe unto them that call call evil good and good evil, and put darkness for light and light for darkness. Almost every chapter has one of these quotable scriptures in it, or that people have been quoting. Okay, so let's finish off with chapter 8. I read these the other day, and I've underlined a lot of stuff, but as I'm reading it now, it's the more I read it, the more I understand it. Okay, let's just see if I can put this over here. Is that a bit better? Yeah, there we go. Moreover, the Lord said unto me, take thee a great roll, and write in it with a man's pen concerning Maher Shalal Hashbaz. I hope I said that correctly. And I took unto me a faithful witness to record Uriah the priest and Zechariah the son of Zeberechiah. And I went unto the prophetess. Now the prophetess is his wife, and she conceived and bare a son. Then said the Lord unto me, call his name Maher Shalal Hashbaz. Shalal Hashbaz. For behold, the child shall have knowledge to cry, my father, the riches of Damascus and the spoil of Samaria shall be taken away before the king of Assyria. The Lord spake also unto me again, saying, so he's had another revelation. So the Lord said to him, take a pen and write for it concerning his son, whom he was still yet to have. Right? Maher Shalal Hashbaz. So it would have been his second son, according to what his first one was, Shear Jashab. Okay, so this is interesting. And the Lord spake also unto me again, saying, for as much as this people refuseth the waters of Shiloh, they go softly and rejoice in Rezin and Remaliah's son. Now therefore, behold, the Lord bringeth up upon them the waters of the river, strong and many, even the king of Assyria, and all his glory. He shall come over all his channels and go over all his banks. Okay, so he's going to invade Assyria, will penetrate Judah also. Okay. Verse 9. Associate yourselves, O ye people. In other words, form alliances, and ye shall be broken in pieces. And give ear, all ye of far countries, gird yourselves, and ye shall be broken in pieces. Gird yourselves, and ye shall be broken in pieces. Interesting how he said it twice there, emphasizing the point. Judah, land of Emmanuel, will be spared. Okay, that's what he's talking about. In power, for God is with us. For the Lord spake thus to me with a strong hand, in power basically, and instructed me that I should not walk in the way of this people. Isn't that interesting? The Lord spake thus to me with his in power, and he instructed me that I should not walk in the way of this people. We shouldn't walk in the way of this people. They worship false gods. They are worldly. They're putting the worldliness before God. Verse 12, say ye not a confederacy. In other words, Judah should not rely on secret plots with others for safety. Sanctify the Lord of hosts himself, and let him be your fear, and let him be your dread. And he shall be for a sanctuary, but for a stone of stumbling and for a rock of offense to both the houses of Israel. So he's talking about Judah and Ephraim there, right? For a jinn, because they were both like the leaders. Like Ephraim was the head of the northern tribes, and Judah and Benjamin, right, together. For a jinn and for a snare to the inhabitants of Jerusalem. And many among them shall stumble and fall and be broken and be snared and be taken. What's he talking about in here? Be reverent and humble before God. What do I keep saying in my videos? We should be humble and teachable. Verse 14. Security for those who trust him, but dismay and suffering for unbelievers. Okay, so if we trust in the Lord and keep his counsels, we'll have security. But for those who don't, there will be suffering. And obviously Jesus Christ is that cornerstone and that stone of stumbling, that rock of offense that was going to come. Bind up the testimony. Seal the law among my disciples. In other words, in the Hebrew, the law means teachings or doctrine. Okay, seal the teachings and the doctrines among my disciples. So make sure we know what they are, right? Have a good understanding of what the scriptures are saying. Where are we? And I will wait upon the Lord that hideth his face from the house of Jacob, and I will look for him. Behold, I and the children whom the Lord hath given me are for signs and for wonders in Israel from the Lord of hosts, which dwelleth in Mount Zion. The names of Isaiah and his sons mean respectively Jehovah saves, he hastens the prey, and a remnant shall return. Isn't that interesting? That's the names of Isaiah and his sons. And they have been given for signs and wonders in Israel. Verse 19, and when they shall say unto you, seek unto them that have familiar spirits, and unto wizards that peep and that mutter, should not a people seek unto their God, for the living to the dead? Or on behalf of the dead. So, shouldn't a people seek their God? That's a good question. We should be seeking God. Verse 20, to the law and to the testimony. So we should be seeking to God. We should also be seeking to the law and to the testimony. If they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. So if people are speaking which other things other than the words of God found in the scriptures, found in the teachings of Jesus, they do not have the light in them. Okay. We need to be careful with that one. We need to be careful who we judge is teaching the right words and who's not. Some people will probably think I'm not teaching the right things. All I can say is need to be humble about that one, and need to not. Yeah, we need to be careful. We need to judge according to the scriptures. But there's a lot of different people who have different thoughts about the scriptures, and you can do yourself some real disservice by rejecting people who are teaching the scriptures but may have a different understanding to you. Verse 21, and they shall pass through it hardly be stead and hungry, and it shall come to pass that when they shall be hungry they shall fret themselves and curse their king and their God and look upward. And they shall look unto the earth and behold trouble and darkness, dimness of anguish, and they shall be driven to darkness. He's talking here about, where is it? Israel would be taken into captivity because they would not hearken, and they blaspheme, and they're in spiritual darkness and dark affliction. So because they won't seek God, this is what happens, right? Interesting stuff in Isaiah. What did I learn from that? I learned, one, that Ahaz was not too bad. He didn't want to tempt God, and therefore the Lord gave him a sign which was discussing the coming of Jesus Christ. Also, he warned him against what Ephraim was and Syria were going to try and do to him, wipe him out, and that the Lord was going to stop it for him, right? So that was good. Also, that Isaiah and his sons, their names were given as what was it? What was the words? Where is it? Oh, their names were given for signs and wonders. Yeah. But behold, I and the children whom the Lord hath given me are for signs and for wonders in Israel from the Lord of hosts. So they've been sent as signs and wonders. Yep. And that we should remember that Jesus Christ is going to be a stone of stumbling and a rock of offense to people. Not everyone's going to accept him. Not everyone's going to believe. Not everyone's going to think that his miracles come from God. And as you can read the New Testament, they thought he came from Satan. They thought he was Beelzebub. They thought he was this cult figure that was trying to lead people astray and teaching some weird new stuff. You know, like, you've got to be very careful that you're not thinking about that with people today, thinking they're weird, thinking they're cult-like, when they're still preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ. I mean, you know, just saying. Anyway, we'll do chapter 9 another day, and there's some more scriptures in there that are pretty cool as well. But that's another session on Isaiah. Hope you got something out of that. Powerful stuff. It shows you the importance that God speaks through prophets. Prophets reveal things to the righteous, to warn them, to teach them, to give them signs, to prepare them for the future, so that they can be focused, right? Be focused on the right things and heading in the right direction. And that's the role of a prophet. So Isaiah is a powerful example of that, and he was given as a sign and a wonder in Israel. Fantastic. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.